This conference will now.
Hello friends, good morning and let's start. Today we're going to start a new session or new topic I can say, which is actually called version control. So the plan is for today is it might even extend for at least for 1 hour for next week as well. But the plan is to discuss about what is Git and what are different options we have, what is Git and how it works, and we're going to talk about GitHub as well, and we're going to talk a lot of features inside the Git. So see, this is what many people will do, or many institutes or something, they'll try to teach as much as long, like take lot of classes on Git actually. That means, so they try to extend wantedly saying that one Git is that this, because in my view, right, Git is nothing but where it will save your code. If I say code, it can be any code, something like your shell script or PowerShell script or Terraform code or Docker files, anything is a code, or your Java or .NET, whatever it is, everything is a code, right? These files will be taken care of by what are the changes happen to the files, how you change the files, how you push to the repositories, everything, right? It will be taken care of by Git. And spending of like 1 week 2 weeks on just Git is a waste of time. So that's why I'm going to use the going to take 4 hours for this one, max 3-4 hours, to explain everything about the Git. The reason what I'm doing it is, why I'm doing that is, I'm going to use the next time, right, to talk more important topics. See, I took a lot of interviews, I have attended many interviews as well. No one ever really emphasized about the Git actually. It's not like a so complicated tool you need to put so much of effort. It's just a version control which saves the data, and you should know some tricks which will be there how to save the data. That's it. That next coming, if you say this is the least important topic in the whole DevOps, when you take PowerShell, shell scripting, Terraform, Docker, everything, right, this is the least important topic. Okay, so many people, what they will do, they will say as a most important topic because they don't know much about the other topics. That's the reason. So don't get think that okay, I just told 3-4 classes, because we're going to cover all major aspects in 3-4 classes, so don't worry. Right then, so what exactly we need to do actually? So imagine I'm going to create a PowerShell script. First I'm going to a shell script actually. So let me create some folder actually. Mm. So I have a lot of this unnecessary. Let me delete all these things. Let me clean it up. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to delete this as well as, fine, user 1, user 2. I'm going to delete this as well. Okay, let me delete this as well. I'm just cleaning up, guys. Okay, so let me create a folder actually. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say uh, DevOps Git class. This is what the name I'm going to give. So I go inside and I'm going to right click and open the code. Now, once you want to have a repository, first we need to have some basic files actually, which is irrespective of any technology. It might be Terraform, it might be shell script. So in the Git, right, I'm going to add two important files. First thing is I'm going to add .git ignore. This is the first file you need to add actually. What is Git ignore? So there might be some files which you don't want to push it to GitHub actually. So what you can do is you can put those file names or wildcards like star.xy txt like that here, so that these files won't be pushed to the Git. This is the most important, guys. Many people don't care about this one. Imagine when you're dealing with Terraform or when you're dealing with Ansible or some, right, there will be some passwords actually. So these passwords, right, if you push it, right, unnecessarily, people who has access to the who has access to this one, right, this repository can be able to see the passwords. So one of the important thing which you need to understand when version control is, don't push the passwords. Passwords are meant to provide security. So when the passwords are meant to have security, putting them or storing them in a version control, GitHub or whatever it is, Bitbucket, GitLab, everything, right? It can unnecessarily cause issues for you. Okay, so my sincere advice is you need to create this Git Ignore first actually. After that, next thing will be, right, we need to going to give something called as readme file actually. Why you need a readme file? And many people really don't give importance to readme file as well. So imagine if you leave the company and someone comes into this one, how do he know that what exactly happens? Of course, he can go through the code. He can go through the code and find out, but it's a waste of time, right? So what I do, I'll say readme.md. Just give md. Okay, that means it's a readme file. These two are important. Okay, now you start with creating whatever you want. If you want to create like scripts, right? So I'm going to say something like, now you give the code actually, my script.sh. Okay, my script.sh. Now here you can code everything. So what exactly is there in my repository? I have definitely at least two files, which is git ignore and readme, and I have the shell script actually. Now if I want to give a shell script, I say like let's do one thing. I'm going to say bin.bash and I'll say echo hello, this is shell script. Now I'm going to save it. Try to always use the Visual Studio code guys. See, if you ask me, you have a lot of things, right? I mean, you have like Notepad++, but Visual Studio Code, the extensions are very good. Use it. Now I'm going to do is, the problem if I use the shell script, I can't run it, guys, because I'm actually on the Windows system. So what I'm going to add one more file. I'll say that my script.ps1. So if you see, it's a PowerShell script, right? So I have enabled the PowerShell script. I'm going to create this one. So let me write some PowerShell script. So what I'm going to do, so for dollar I is equal to 0 comma dollar I hyphen less than 11 or less than or equal to 10, I can say, and dollar I plus plus. Okay, so I'm going to say okay, write output. Okay, I want to say welcome, sorry, welcome for dollar I times. Okay, and I'll say else. Okay, as the okay, end of for loop. Okay, right, I just wrote something. Okay, so I'm going to save it. So if I want to run, I can run it out this one like this, and it is saying that one. I want to say for guys, sorry, this is then, right? I mean, it's for if loop, right? Come on, you should have told me. Okay, there is no else in for loop, right? It's just a loop. It's an if statement, right? Okay, if I'm going to run this, I'm getting this one. So this is some piece of code actually. Okay, now I want to say, I want to find out or I can give 100, but I want to say what are all the odd numbers. I mean, what are the odd numbers in the whole this one? So what I can do, I can write if dollar I modulus 2 hyphen, okay, not equal to 0, here I'm going to say, so I'm going to see, I can also give echo $I is a odd number, and now I can use the then here. Else I'll say echo even. Okay, right. So control S, and let's try to run and see whether the code works or not. So it is saying, right, so I want to say welcome 100 times, 99 times, so it is printing, and 100 is even, 99 is odd, 98 even, 97 is odd. So we got everything. Okay. Right now, so this is our code, right? How I'm going to protect this actually, because what exactly it will do is whatever the changes you're going to do, it should be saved. The one way you can do is actually, I can actually click on here, save as. I can say like version 1, something like people used to do, like version 1, version 2, or version 3, version 4. This is a hectic job, guys. There are quite a problems. One is all these versions are there in your local and you need to push it to some remote. Second thing is, how do everyone will keep a track of it? Because if you are the only person working on this script, right, there is no issue. Imagine there are multiple people working on this project. For example, imagine in real time how things work it out is, if you want to automate your whole infrastructure environment and there are 3 DevOps engineers, what we'll do is we'll divide the job. So what I will say is, okay, all the VPC related, all the network related, you're going to take care of it, one. And all the compute, everything will be taken care, compute, RDS, database, everything be taken care of by the other one. And the third one will take care of all the IAM related, that means all the security access, everything will be. So we divide this code among these 3 and they start working on it, and finally we'll combine everything and we'll get it done. So module by module that it will be developed actually. So that means on a given code, people will be keep on working on that one, right? So that it doesn't make any sense, and it is very much ineffective to put your code on your local laptop. And it is always important, we need to put our code in a remote repository. Okay, now what I'm going to do that, we have multiple repository, guys. We can use like GitHub is the one of the thing, as well as we have the other one is GitLab is there. We have one more thing, Bitbucket is there, and we have Azure DevOps repos is there. There are a lot of repositories is there, and the famous one will be like GitHub. Okay, which was been taken over by Microsoft a year before, I think so. Right now, in this session, right, we're going to check two types of repositories. One is GitHub, and in the last module of the DevOps, we are going to talk about Azure DevOps, guys. During that time, I'm going to explain about the Azure repos. Right now, let me go to the GitHub. Now this is my GitHub account. Let me tell you one important thing. If I take an interview, okay, for any DevOps person, and if I want to check it out if you're really a DevOps engineer or not, how can I make a decision? Okay, I don't need to ask 100 questions for that one. I can simply ask one thing. So if somebody comes and say, how do I know you are a DevOps engineer? How do you know that you works in DevOps or cloud, everything? What I'll say, okay, do one thing, and you can go to my github.com and type Maverick202, which is my GitHub, and you can see there are totally 55 repositories which are visible to the public. Remaining actually it is visible to my one. Total there are 88 or 89, and you can see my followers actually. And they might say like, maybe because for this interview you have added. I'll say that okay, that's very stupid. If you come down, if you come down, right, you will see all the what one you see 2019 October. If I go further down, you have something like June, a lot of like almost like if I go next, this is in 2018 and this is 2018. If I further go, this is 2017. If you see, my project is there somewhere like from 2017. This is like past 3 years. I mean, I think from so past 3 years I'm having my repository, and these are my accounts. These are my repositories. You can go ahead and enjoy it. So this is the easy way where I can find out if a person is really, see, it doesn't matter if you're really a DevOps person, at least you will have one repository because it's very hard for you to track the code. what you want, because I'm working on DevOps, AWS and Azure. Sometimes I need to teach for you guys and I need to have my own codes and everything. So, and I need to share a code with you as well, right? So where I'm going to keep it, I can keep it here. So you should have a Git account actually, GitHub account, and then you have repositories. And when you test it, you don't always try to download from my account or some other account. What you do is you clone it, and actually there is something called as forking actually. Okay, if you see there are a lot of, so these are all students which are forked my account. Forked is nothing but whatever they fork, right? It will be a copy will be added in their account. Basically, even I forked something actually, a few things I have forked myself. Okay, like this the students fork it and they basically practice among themselves. Okay, okay, then let's create a repository. I'm going to say new repository. And earlier, right, when GitHub was not being taken over or acquired by Microsoft, right, you can only put public repositories. You cannot have private repositories. If you want to private repository, what will happen, you need to pay money for GitHub, because github is a startup, and there is a lot of repositories, but they need to save this one somewhere, right? It will cost them money, so you need to pay the money for them. Now when Microsoft took over, Microsoft have all the money in the world, right? Microsoft, Apple and Google, they have a unlimited source of money. So what they said is they have given, okay, you can use how many private repositories you can use yourself. We don't have any limit. Only thing is we cannot have more than 3 contributors to that one. That means I can only add another 2 people to work on this. See, have a clear difference here. If I put public, you can clone it from easily. If I put private, it is not visible to anyone, and I can add another 2 more so that they can work on that one. Imagine I have a software product which I'm working on, and I have another 2 developers. I can create a private, and I can give the link and they can work on it because I gave the access. But more than 3 it won't work. For that you need to buy additional licenses. In this case I'm going to say eng devops b, or simply I'll say eng devops b01 repo. Okay, I'm going to click on private, guys. Okay, private, and I'll say create a repository. Okay, by default if you see, you really don't have anything. It is saying that if you want to upload something, you can do that. You can actually create a new file, you can upload an existing file, you can do that. Actually you can do this one. You can actually click on upload file. You can select our choose files, go to C, and it's English DevOps classes. I can check it out and I can upload. This is a manual way of working and no one ever does that. Okay, I do that, but if I want to edit some small code and everything, again downloading is hectic, so I do that. But most probably when you are working, you don't do this manual like choosing a files to upload. You do using an application called as Git, guys. An application called as Git. Now coming back, as you see right now, let me close this, don't save. Okay, so I have my script ready, and we know that we have our files and everything. Now what I want is I want to add some files actually wantedly. I'm going to say that file1 dot or passwords dot txt. Okay, so and I'll say tokens dot txt. These passwords and tokens are basically a little bit of important. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want my passwords and tokens should actually push it to Git actually. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to right click, rename, and I'm going to copy, go to the Git Ignore. I can actually give something like this, or simply I can add star.txt. But let me tell you, it will avoid all the text files. Of course right now you have txt and txt only two, but real time if you have more, right? So should be in Git Ignore. See, I'm stupid enough. So I'm going to copy this. This is not here. This should be Git Ignore, guys. Here we're going to add it, and I'm going to save it. Okay. Now I want to push all my code, and readme I'm going to put something like this. Readme I'm going to put 2 stars, and I'll say you don't need to put the star, but if you put 2 stars you'll get a heading actually in the GitHub. I'll say that this repo is for English DevOps weekend batch. Okay, and I'm going to give 2 more here. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give anything. I'm going to save it. See, there is a there is a circle here. So if you see a circle here, or you can see some here, right? You can do 2 circles actually. Let me show it to you. If you see a circle here or something here, that means your file is not yet saved, guys. You also see here also it's not been saved. So what I'm going to do is, if I here control yes, right, you'll see you'll lose both. See, that's gone. So remember that one. Okay, good, we are good. Now what I want is, I want to push this all my code to the GitHub account, to this account. How I'm going to do that? You need to have something called as a git installed, guys. Okay, so you need to have something called as a git. What is this git? Is this a software? If I go to command line, if I hit git, right, you'll get all these things. It's very straightforward. See, I'm not going to show you how to install git, guys. It's a very kids job. But where I can download Git Scm, if you write git-scm, you will get it. Click on it, you will have like a 2.2.5, but I don't know what is the version I'm using. I'll say git version. Let me see. 2.2.3 Windows. Let's me download and install it, because I need the 2.5 is better, right? So I'm going to download it. So it is only show the new option, because it is not going to overwrite. It's just going to check it out. It will compare and it should show me the new version. So let's install. Once the git is installed, right, what we're going to do is, we're going to use this git software. So GitHub is different, GitLab is different, git is different. Git is actually the application which will help you to push the code or version control the code. I mean, it will track everything, what are the changes happened in the file, and you can actually push the code to the registry or repositories, which can be any repository. It can be using Git will work with Azure repos, any repository, guys. Bitbucket, GitLab, GitHub, any bucket, I mean, any type of thing. Okay, so I'll say good. So it's installed actually. So what I'm going to do is, now let me open the command line. I'll say git version. Let's see what will happen. Now we see 2.25, right? So I'm having a latest version. Good. Now the plan is, I want to push the code to here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, what is the repository which we created? See, I'll say eng devops git class, right? Eng devops git class. If I go here right now, if I say git, right, you will get it. But if I say, let me show you dir, it will show 2 files. Sorry, a couple of files: git ignore, ps1, everything. Now if I type git status, it will give you saying that one. See, fatal, not a git repository. What is trying to say is, you don't have git initialized in this one. So let me show it to you. I'll go here right now. If you refresh, you don't have anything. Similarly, if I go to the hidden files and everything, right, see, I have selected the hidden files also. You don't have anything. First you need to initialize it. How I'm going to do that? Git init, git initialize. What it will do, it will create a .git folder, a hidden folder. If you see right now, it's not, there is no .git, right? So let me take this down. If I hit enter, see, at the top there is some called .git repository. Whenever you see a dot, right, that means it's a hidden. Now why exactly you required this folder? Whatever the changes, right, it will track. This Git will track and keep it here. It knows, because there should be some place where it will be noting down everything, right? What are the changes happened? That will be in Git. Okay, fine. Now if I say Git status, what it is saying? It is saying, if you see, it is not displaying both the text files, right? If you see, it's not create, it's not actually doing anything, guys. It's not actually doing that, right? It's not, you have text files, but it's not actually considering those text files. Why? Because we added into the Git Ignore. Let me do one thing. Let me create one more file. I'll say test.tf, which is a Terraform file. Okay, now if I type Git status, now it's a test.tf, right? I'll do one thing. I'll go back, go to the Git Ignore, and I'll say star.tf and save it. Again, Git status. Now you see the test.tf is not visible. So what exactly it is happening? While about to check it out the status, the Git only check for the status of the files which are not part of the Git Ignore. So in this way, you can avoid any unimportant things. For example, let me show you. If you're using a Terraform, right? For example, if I go here and type Git or Terraform, don't worry about this, Terraform init, right? Come on, Terraform init, right? What will happen? It will basically download some plugins and everything actually. So refresh. So the reason it won't work is because I didn't given the provider. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll go here. It is saying that one initialized, but it's not able to find the, okay. I'm going to give something here. This test.tf, right? I'm going to say provider. I'm going to give AWS. I'm going to just save it. Again, I'm going to type, I'm going to remove this Terraform. It's not right. Okay, refresh. Good. So I'm going to run Terraform init again. Now check it out. It is downloading AWS plugins actually. What are exactly you're trying, sir? Let me show it to you. Now what will happen? See this .terraform. If I right click, go properties, the size of this is 145 MB, guys. So because it has downloaded some plugins actually, if you go inside plugins and you see there is 150 MB of Terraform AWS plugin actually. Now you really don't want this. If you try to Git status now, right? Let me show it to you. If I type Git status, the problem is .terraform is also going there. So what I can do is I can add the whole folder actually. So I'll do one thing. I'll just copy this, hit enter, and I'll say I'll go to Git Ignore. So like this, you can avoid unnecessary, because Terraform is something, is a software you can download anywhere. Why you want to put in a Git actually? Okay, similarly tokens, I'm going to anyway. So now I kept dot terraform slash in the Git Ignore. Let's see how it behaves actually. If I try to do Git status, now if you see, it's not showing Terraform, guys. This is the way you can actually avoid sensitive files to upload it towards the Git. Okay, you can tell me, sir, anyway it is a private repository, right? If it is a private repository, what's the big deal? Still, guys, okay, imagine it is something like, if you only have access, yes, you can put your passwords, everything. So by any chance, if you mistakenly, if you share, something happens, right? It's unnecessary, right? That's why even it is a private repository, it is always recommended, do not put your credentials or tokens inside a Git repository. Okay, are we clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Let's do this. Now is I want to push the files to here. Now what I need to do is, first thing is, if I put Git status, what it will do, it will show what are the files. It is showing untracked files, and it is saying, okay, so git add, and it is actually showing all these things. Now I'm going to first, you need to git add it to track. So nothing added to the commit, but untracked files, use git add to track. So what I need to do is, you can use git add and then give the file basically readme, hit enter. And if I say git status, you see readme went to, it's saying that it is committed, changes to be committed, and it is tracking the readme. So like that, you can add the files. But the problem is, imagine one file I can do that. If you have 100 of files, so what you need to do is,